All right. Cool. Come on down. And sorry, what was your name again?
My name is Lindsay.
Lindsay, hi. Reed.
Reed.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, yeah, want to do headphones?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I want to take off your glasses.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect. So, yeah, welcome to the Street Epistemology Los Angeles meetup. Yeah, I've just put it on the meetup just to see what happens. Never know who I'm going to get, and you found us, so welcome.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so how did you find us really on Meetup? What did you search for?
In-person events, Los Angeles today.
Okay, today, yeah. Yeah, just, I wasn't sure if I was going to be doing this today. I had a board meeting for the nonprofit, which relates to street epistemology earlier this morning, so I wasn't sure if I was going out, but I just delayed it a little bit. I'm usually here from 12 to 4, but I just came a little later, and I'm glad I made it out. Yeah.
Awesome. I didn't know that this was related to an organization.
There is a organization now related to it. I'm president of the nonprofit, but right now I have my regular SE content creator hat on, not in any official capacity right now with the nonprofit. So yeah, with street epistemology, we like to chat with people about whatever they want to talk about, some type of claim they could give reasons for. And I help them think about their potential reasons for it, why they are so confident about it. I'll get their confidence level, and then we can explore, are those good reasons? What reasons could change their mind? Stuff like that.
Okay.
And does that sound like fun?
Sure.
All right, awesome. So, yeah, it could be politics or religion, spirituality, science, philosophy. You said you major in rhetoric, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or your degree in rhetoric?
Rhetoric, and then psychology, and then I went to law school.
Amazing.
Yeah. A lot of time.
Awesome. Cool.
So I was thinking maybe we could talk about friendliness and maybe how media, and exacerbated later by social media, made friendliness almost uncool, and how lockdown might push us towards alleviating the effects of that.
Okay. Friendliness, and it seems to have become slightly uncool nowadays, and one potential reason is social media and other things. Yeah, so let's try to make the claim like the coolness of friendliness has decreased over the years, or what's a better way to phrase that? Or is it an all-time low, or is just not where we want it to be? What's a good claim?
I don't want to be sensational about it, so maybe just like over time, the value of friendliness had decreased due to depictions of, say, sarcastic humor being so prevalent in television media, upon which people started growing up on because both parents were working, and a lot of people used television as babysitting, and our examples of what a cool person were always like dark and twisty and angsty, sarcastic, funny people. Mm-hmm. And that kind of set an example for a couple generations, I think, at this point, of like, this is how you be adult. And that got into people at a younger and younger age. So as they strove to find their way in the world and protect themselves from, seeming lame or childish, they lost their willingness to admit that, they want to go play with their friends at around junior high because, we don't play in junior high, we hang out. And we can't, just go up to somebody and be like, hey, I love your shoes, do you want to be friends? Because that's not cool.
Gotcha. Let's focus on maybe this question. Has the value of friendliness decreased in the past 20 years? How about that as a question?
All right.
All right.
I certainly think it has in the minds of most people.
Okay.
On the other hand, I feel like the people who have maintained their value into their value of friendliness have become those who succeed in business settings.
Gotcha. So those who succeed in business settings, that's the main contingent of people who have lost value in it, or no?
The opposite. Like, I think that what makes somebody a successful business person tends to be their willingness to engage others.
The willingness to engage others leads to success in business. Okay. So those people are more likely to value friendliness.
So friendliness rather than friendship.
Friendliness.
There's
Yeah,
pretty.
rather than friendship. Yeah. Because friendliness is what is friendliness in your mind?
Friendliness is just kind of the very basic ability to like go up to a stranger or a group of strangers and like smile and be open to speaking to them and act like, you have time for another person instead of like burying your head in your phone and going like, oh, I can't talk, I'm too busy, or like, oh, I'm afraid of approaching a stranger because I'm an introvert, or like, just giving yourself every reason not to be open to making new friends.
The openness to have time for other people. Gotcha. That's part of the main part of friendliness.
To me, I'd say so.
Gotcha. All right. So if we replace the word friendliness with people has the value of being open to other people decreased in the past 20 years? If all the way to the right is absolutely yes, 100%, that is decreased, or not sure, or absolutely no, it has not decreased, maybe increased. Where's your current confidence about this?
I'd say that's a tough one because most people nowadays would say that they're more open towards other people without necessarily it genuinely being true. So like a lot of our dialogue in modern society is about being open to people who are different than you. And what that means is not being like violent towards them or being ostracizing them, essentially. And so that type of openness, I'd say, has increased. But at the same time, the isolation from not being physically present or having less to do on your own has made us like less likely to seek out strangers, such that we can put into practice these ideals we have about not ostracizing people.
Yeah, we can't be really friendly. We have friendliness with people if we're isolated.
Right.
There has to be a contact in some way. Okay, gotcha. So your confidence, where do you think it would be for this question? What's a good spot for it right now? You can feel free to update it as we talk, but it's like this side is the answering of the yes, this side is answering no to that question. And how much are you answering yes? How confident? And how much no are you?
I'd say 90%. I'm confident in saying that the value of friendship has decreased over the last 20 years. Or friendliness. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so you can move it to like almost to all the way to the right over there. Gotcha. All right. Now let's try to find the best reason for being at that level of confidence.
Okay.
What are some good reasons we can have on the table to evaluate?
Oh, like postulates that I would prove?
Yeah, what could you say, if it was true, it would imply that it's a good reason to be at that level of confidence?
Okay, so if it's true that most people feel more lonely while engaged in social media for a larger portion of their time, then I think this is probably true.
Okay. Let me try to think of the connection there. Yeah, if you're feeling lonely, that's a very different thing from friendliness. You're not feeling lonely when you're being friendly with people.
It's really hard to like feel like you have no friends if you're out actively trying to make them. Is what I would say that idea just popped into my head from.
Okay.
Because there's a sort of hope involved in the friendliness demeanor. Like, hey, maybe this person is awesome. Maybe they'll think I'm awesome. That's why I'm doing this. And if you're too preoccupied by the pain that comes from feeling lonely, you're not going to be able to have that hope.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. So how can we boil that down to a tweet size talking about social media?
Oh boy. Never had a Twitter, so
really?
Give me a moment. Preoccupation with loneliness because of isolation prevents hopeful friendliness.
Preoccupation with loneliness because of isolation prevents hopeful friendliness. Okay.
Did I meet the character count?
I think that would apply.
Okay.
I think that would Preoccupation with loneliness because of isolation prevents hopeful friendliness. We can remove because of isolation because it's a reason for that claim. We can get to that in a minute. So preoccupation with loneliness prevents hopeful friendliness.
Mm-hmm.
Or should we say isolation prevents hopeful friendliness?
I don't know. There's something important to me about the pain aspect of the postulate that we currently have. So maybe if we keep it like the pain of isolation distracts us. Pain of isolation creates a barrier to hopeful friendliness.
Pain of isolation creates a barrier to hopeful friendliness. Okay. And more hopeful friendliness increases friendliness in general. Just hope,
We can probably take out hopeful, I suppose,
Okay.
if we're trying to distill it down to its barest bones.
Mm-hmm. All right, so pain of isolation creates a barrier to friendliness. And related to that, I assume, is like isolation has increased in the past 20 years?
Yes.
Okay. What about the value of friendliness? How can we connect some type of thing to the value of friendliness?
So I think that avoiding boredom is a core human drive, like part of what made us more social before we had TV and internet and, all of the entertainment that resulted was that we were bored. So we would go out and we'd hang out with people.
I remember in 2007 having the first iPhone. I'm like, I'm never going to be bored again. Even with the really crappy before 3G internet, it was just, even then, I'm like, wow, this is going to change things. But has, yeah, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, no, I sort of felt the same way, even though I was super late to the smartphone conversation. I didn't get one until 2015, and I texted somebody from it, and I was like, hey, I just got a smartphone, and they were like, welcome to the year 2005.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, good one, bird. But I lost track of where we were.
The value of friendliness. We were talking about pain of isolation creates a barrier to friendliness.
So to alleviate boredom, we would go out and socialize. Because we now have isolative entertainment,
I see.
we no longer value socialization in person as much.
We can satiate our boredom without interacting with people now. We can have isolating entertainment options.
Yeah.
Like Netflix and just scrolling on social media all night.
Watching other people argue on the internet, which is not good for our mental health, no matter what a guilty pleasure it is.
Yeah. Okay, I'm liking some of these. Now I'm seeing the connection here. So, if the pain of isolation creates a barrier to friendliness is our main reason. Isolation has increased, and the increase of isolation reduces the value of friendliness. So potentially, value of friendliness decreased in past 20 years. And you can't, having a barrier to friendliness stops it from increasing. Can we say just isolation isolation reduces friendliness? Maybe. Or is that not enough?
I don't think that quite grasps the essence of the claim.
Let's just start with the value of friendliness. What can we add to that?
The value of friendliness depends upon our ability to meet our needs without other people.
The value of friendliness depends on our ability to meet our needs without other people? So if we can meet our needs without other people, we have less of a need to value friendliness? Okay. All right, great. And our ability to meet our needs with other people has increased in the past 20 years, maybe.
Did you say with or without?
Without.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our ability to meet our needs without other people has increased in the past 20 years. Therefore, the value of friendliness has decreased in the past 20 years. That is tight. I like that. That's a good connection. All right. So that's our one reason with the two premises connected together. Any other reasons that doesn't use the vocabulary of like meeting our needs or meeting our needs? Any other reasons around for this claim? You mentioned isolation and boredom. Maybe those are just subsets of meeting our needs.
Possibly focus is related to the effect that this creates. Like when I first started talking about it, I was like, well, I mean, media is hugely responsible because our examples of like well-written jokes are usually like sarcastic, mean kind of digs. And so the more time we spend focusing on how cutting other people can be to each other, the less time we're going to want to dedicate to spending with other people because they might do that to us. And we think that we have to be acting like that to be seen as cool or not vulnerable.
Yeah, let me try to repeat that back. What I'm hearing you say is nowadays our way of joking with people has been, or just way of interacting with people has been less friendly, and examples of that is like using cutting jokes, like jokes that, or
it's more like the fear of vulnerability due to our focusing in entertainment, such as, comedy that's mean and the news, always focusing on the dark things, and the social media giving more attention to controversy because that's what people like to argue about, sorry, I lost track of how I started the sentence, but
Fear of vulnerability.
the fear of vulnerability that comes from focusing on negative things pertaining to perceived social interactions, even if they're fictional or in this sort of hyper reality of social media, makes us reluctant to engage with others in an open manner, which is required for friendliness, out of defensiveness.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a relationship between vulnerability and our valuing of friendliness, I'm hearing. If we are more open to being vulnerable, we're more open to being friendly with people.
Yeah, I would say that. Sort of like the too cool for school attitude is like, if you are vulnerable to being hurt by others, you're flawed. Like, you shouldn't care what other people think. But everybody does, and it's really kind of impossible not to care when somebody's being mean to you. Like nobody wants somebody to be abusive towards them. And the attitude towards it is like, it's your responsibility not to care about what other people say or do to you. It makes you feel like, well, I can't be open because that's vulnerable, and if I'm vulnerable and get hurt, then people are going to say I'm weak.
Okay, so let's try this. The value of friendliness depends on our ability to be vulnerable.
Our acceptance that vulnerability is not a flaw.
The value of friendliness depends on our acceptance that vulnerability is not a flaw. And our acceptance that vulnerability is not a flaw has increased or decreased over the years?
Decreased greatly.
Has decreased greatly in the past 20 years. Great. All right, I think we've got two main reasons now: meeting our needs and our acceptance that vulnerability is not a flaw. Which of these should weigh more for being at that level of confidence? Or are they the same? Or?
I suppose it would depend on the person that we're discussing. You know, everybody has their own mix of reasons for doing things or not doing them. And I think it's a little bit individual which one weighs more, because a lot of people are very risk averse and a lot of people are, not. So it's kind of like you've got the people who are not going to care about the risk of seeming vulnerable, but they are going to care that it's a lot of effort. So why would they bother going out and being friendly if their needs for not having boredom are already met?
Mm-hmm.
And just the opposite can be true for another individual.
Let's say we had like super rock solid sociological data, like population level statistical data about the level of our ability to meet needs or our acceptance that vulnerability is not a flaw. If there were studies that demonstrated the level of that changing over the years, say we had that and we connected those to our reasons, which one now should weigh differently?
Oh, that's a tough question. I'm such a skeptic. My first question is, what was your methodology?
Assuming we can get that and that's even measurable in any reliable way.
Let's see. I would say friendliness. I would say probably friendliness is more about the vulnerability side of things than it is about the meeting needs things, because friends is the needs part that I would say is achievable without the friendliness. Like, you can have friends even if you're not a friendly person, because people just end up friends on accident. A lot of times making good friendships takes effort. Sometimes you just fall into friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say probably the acceptance that vulnerability is not a flaw would weigh more, at least for me, based on my observations.
Okay, and I just got this little prop last week or 2 weeks ago, and I haven't had the chance to play with it yet.
Okay.
And I've been wanting to play with it. So now I have these weights here.
Okay.
These are magnetic, these aren't. You can put whatever you think the amount should be, like pick a color for each reason, and you can put the amount of weight you think each one has, and then you can like weigh them. This is pro side, this is con side. Right now we're just pro side right now. So what color should this one be? What's a good...
Meets a need. I'm gonna go with the dark color for that one because it feels sort of cynical to me that friendliness is about meeting your needs. True, but cynical.
And it'll be on the right side for pro. This is against the, like, no, and this is yes. So pro, against. Green is pro, and red is against. So right on the right side, yeah.
Okay, so what am I? Would you restate the question?
Yeah, we're trying to weigh these reasons.
Okay.
And we have up to 5 to weigh them. Are these like 5 out of 5 in terms of the weight of reasons, or is it a 1 out of 5 in terms of weight of reasons, or in the middle?
So is this about my confidence or about how much I think it factors into our main?
How much it
claim?
factors in a reason to get you to that level of confidence.
Okay.
You know, if you have strong, weighty reasons, that implies you should be more confident about it. That's the assumption I'm going with.
Okay. Say maybe I'm at like a 3 for pro on meets needs.
Okay. And you can put the 3 magnetic ones here just to keep track.
Got it. Okay.
Perfect. Wow, this is awesome. And then what's another color for this one?
Okay, so let's go with yellow to do cheerful.
Sweet. And that's 4.
Give myself some wiggle room in case my mind changes or gets even stronger, or, you know.
Cool. Amazing. I love it. I love this visual. All right. We've talked for a while, and we've thought a lot of reasons. We've weighed some reasons. We could keep going and talk about how we could tell how much we should weigh each reason, what are some like reasons against this potentially, but maybe we'll like take a pause, and maybe if you want to come back next week or some other time, we can pick it up. This is great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Lindsay, is that right?
Yes, Lindsay.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome.
Appreciate it.
All right, have a
Thank you
great
so
day.
much. You too. Great. Awesome. Thank you.